Hello, cozy listeners. Welcome back to Steeped in Storytelling. I'm Sarah, voice actor and a foodie. Grab a cup. Join me. Today we're talking about connection and how we repair after rupture. I'm going to be honest with you. This is my second attempt recording this episode. I started the first and just could not do it. My emotions, my body was just not feeling it. And so I said, okay, we're going to turn this off. We're going to go self-soothe. We're going to get back to a place of centering. And you know what? Every time I say that, people always think, oh, woo-woo stuff. No, we're talking science here. I trained as a yoga instructor several years ago, and I didn't last in the industry because of the woo-woo. Straight up. I just couldn't do it. The landscape of wellness is a minefield for someone who's living in a body where your nervous system is constantly being activated and can't get back to a place of centering. Now, I did meet and learn from some amazing people. I am so grateful for that experience. It really got me into a place where I was learning about anatomy. I went to a cadaver lab. I was looking at videos of current research into fascia, our connective tissue. I learned so much more about the brain and our electrical hardwiring. That's what our nervous system is. And yet I could not stay there. It was kind of like if you're playing a video game, you're not meant to stay at every inn you get to. You get to the inn, you recover for a while, you learn something, you listen to the people there talking, and then you move on. When people ask me now, I tend to say, well, I focus on mindfulness. I don't love the word mindfulness because it still has a wellness woo-woo connotation for me, but it's the closest I can get. And if there's anything I've learned as a voice actor now, it's that sometimes you choose the best words that you can get. I do have a background in writing. That's what I went to university for. I trained as a language, literature, English major. My kids are not language nerds, and they talk to me about how they struggle with language, and I'm sure it's because they're trying to operate with the language that our grandparents gave us. And when I say that, I mean that generation was obsessed with grammatical flow, and I really do think that's a lot of where our programming languages come from today. We've inherited these languages that are several generations old. Generations build up these ways of communicating with each other. And it's not just a language as in you open a dictionary and there's lists of words. I'm talking about how we put them together and the meaning we give them as a collective in everyday speech. And that then goes into the systems we build. And then those systems last a while. I went to an online webinar recently. I was looking into how I can get more involved with advocating for the environment in my local area. And I went to a webinar that a local group is offering. And I was very confused at first because here are these 20-year-olds talking to an audience about how to write a 5-paragraph essay. That is a way that was born in previous generations. Now today we have blogs, we have videos, we have podcasts, and people are communicating in very different ways. And we don't have the same structures in terms of how people are expected to communicate their ideas, their thoughts, their theories. It was such a strange moment for me. I felt kind of like I was in a time paradox. But here's the thing. They were teaching people in the class how to speak to elected officials. And that was the zinger for me. I can't. How is that still the appropriate way to communicate with elected officials, regardless of how old they are? But that really highlighted for me how we are expected to communicate with whom. And for people who might be neurodivergent, that is even harder because it just doesn't make sense. You just want to communicate with people, and it's hard to navigate all of these structures that have rules that aren't always written down. You're just expected to know them. Oh my gosh. I do think this all ties into how we connect with each other and try to find understanding after misunderstanding. layers. I'm a micro macro kind of person. I'm somebody who's looking at how this applies on, the mundane, everyday layer, but I'm also looking at the huge, massive, big picture, multi-generational Earth history layer. That's just how my brain operates. And I try to use that in my scripts when I'm auditioning or when I'm recording for a project. Even if I can't express everything, I can have all of that in my body as I'm acting. I can have all of this research that I've done or all of this thought I've put into who is this person I'm speaking as? What's going on for them in their everyday life? What kind of challenges are they facing? How are they communicating with people in their lives? What things are they trying to navigate? Where are my actors or my live action gamers or my authors at? Come to the front. Come to the front. Because you all know this shit. You can go through these sorts of stories and this is how you're thinking about things, right? I say those particular roles and people, but it's so much bigger than that, right? Like people who are in marketing, they are thinking about all of this, but they're thinking of it through a particular lens. And they're thinking about commerce, they're thinking about client, they're thinking about return on investment. So many of us can't even access this place of imagination and thought exploration because we're so exhausted. We're so tired. I mean, who wouldn't be? I'm putting my hand up right now. In this world, I can't. If I went back in time and told a child version of me what the world would become, I would be stunned and afraid. And so when I look around in my life and I see people experiencing that, it's hard, and I get it because that's how I feel too. Like it absolutely makes sense to feel that way. I have to believe that there is something after the rupture. I have to believe that whatever it looks like, there is a way to reweave or recreate or recycle into something new. When COVID happened, everything shifted. One of the things that I look back to and I find most beautiful amidst all of that horror was how much nature had a rebirth. That was an incredible experience. That was something that I could not have predicted and that I still think about to this day. I think there's something about finding an equilibrium with our environment that creates better space for connection. Have any of you ever been to a family gathering and there's just that one relative who hogs the room? They are talking, they are centered on themselves, they are focused on, well, this is what happened to me, and they are just doing all the talking, they're taking up all the space, they're probably eating more of the food. Nobody likes that person. I have been doing a lot of nerdy reading lately about sound and humanity. And I am left sitting in this place going, holy shit, humans are making so much noise. We are, from our shipping lanes to our airplanes to our travel to cars. We move so much and we're so noisy, and it's affecting all of our neighbors here on planet Earth. It's affecting our insects, our birds, our land life, our water life. We have our seasonal cycles, right? There's going to be different weather patterns that are observable throughout the year. And of course, this is changing right now. We are going through a time of planetary shift. And I want to point out some of the most amazing scientists out there are telling us this is not the end. And honestly, that's hard for me. I grew up in a doomsday religion. The kind of cassette tape that was programmed into me when I was young was the world's going to shit. And we're just going to hope that God comes through and that we're good enough for God to take care of it. Oh my goodness. Like, I look around at people and I see that mentality play out, and it is so infuriating and frustrating. But the ultimate act of rebellion for me is saying, no. I believe in a renaissance. I believe in rebirth. I am not going to give in. And the best scientists are telling us this isn't the end. There is going to be change, but we are already doing the things and finding the solutions to... Anyway, I'm getting off topic again, but I'm not. No, and I still do this to myself. I grew up being somebody who's neurodivergent, always being told, stick to the point. And again, talking about communication styles and what people expect us to say or how they expect us to say it or what the content is that we're supposed to say, I am so done with that. I am still catching myself and being like, no, I'm allowed to have this meandering conversation because that's what my lived experience is. That's how my thoughts work. I'm constantly going over here and then I'm going over there and then I'm going up here and then, oh, but that comes down here. And I'm trying to learn to see those swirls as beautiful sparkles of light. So I live with a benign essential tremor, which talk about what people assume about me, right? When they see me shaking, they make all kinds of assumptions about my health, my body, and they're always wrong because people haven't heard of a benign essential tremor. It happens to run in my family. I went for a test just to make sure everything was okay. It wasn't indicative of anything more non-benign, and it was fine. But they put all these little, I'm going to say it, these little pokey needles, and I hate that. Oh, I hate that sensation just even talking about it. But it was okay. I was doing my breathing exercises through it, and I got through it. It was okay. But it was so wild because I got to hear electrical impulses. What a wild, wild, amazing world we live in where I can hear inside my own body the watery tissues inside me. I can hear the electrical impulses of my nervous system. And that was a turning point for me. And I'm going to feel this emotion. I'm going to let you all hear it. Because we live in a time when being human feels so hard. And I think a lot of us find ourselves looking to the past or looking to imagined futures as ways to try to cope and find some steadiness or familiarity or rhythm. It shifted how I see myself as a human to hear my nervous system. It reminded me that rhythm is already inside me, that I carry in my living, breathing self right now. I carry all of the information that every one of my ancestors and the people they were around and the cultures they lived in and the systems they lived under, that all went into what was passed on to me. I feel like so many of the systems we live under today teach us not to trust our instincts. They teach us to stay separated from ourselves. They teach us to not trust whatever inner reflection we have. Now, as somebody who has dealt with mental illness and who has had many loved ones deal with mental illness, I understand it can be so hard to want to trust yourself. Oh God, this is harder than I thought it would be. It's worth it to trust yourself. Because as we look inside to ourselves, in those sparkles of electricity, there are sparks of joy. There are things that we might have forgotten that light us up, that bring us hope, that make us want to play and experiment. And I truly believe that within those things are the answers that we're seeking for our world. So switching over to food here. Food and how we share meals with each other has tremendous power for bonding in these settings where we feel joy, where we feel play, where we feel a sense of synchronicity or rhythm or familiarity. If you're up to this, I'd like to suggest you try something with me. Take a long exhale, let any air out from your body. Take a stabilizing breath in and imagine to yourself, or if you're not somebody for whom visual imagery works, that's fine. Maybe grab a pen and a paper and you doodle, or whatever works for you here. In your own way, imagine your ideal gathering around food for a meal. Is it quiet? Is there music in the background? Are people talking? If so, at what volume? Who's in the room with you? Are your pets there? Is it outdoors? Is it indoors? What food is on the table? What sorts of memories are you sharing with each other? And it doesn't have to be perfect on the first go. That's not how meditation works. We're just experimenting here. Whatever you feel as you're thinking about this is completely valid, because there's some knowledge there in your body about what this brings up for you. And it's based on your past experience. It's based on the stories you've been told. It's based on the words other people have given you about how you're allowed to talk about your experiences. Maybe if you need to move your body, that can be shaking your hands. That can be tapping your fingers against your legs. It can be standing up and moving around. Whatever works for you right now. You don't have to do anything with what you just imagined. You can just let it blow off in the wind like little bits of dandelion. I brought up COVID a moment ago. For my little family, one thing that became key were S&P nights. It started out being S for salt and P for pepper, because salt and pepper are basic kitchen. Yeah, anyway. But it kind of stuck, and we still do it to this day. One night every week we have S night. And that just means we focus our meal choices. We're going to have spaghetti. We're going to have soup. We're going to have salad. We're going to have sandwiches. And then another night every week we have P night. So we have pie. We have potatoes. We have pancakes. We have pick your own adventure. And it was just my way when I had like zero energy, zero extra bandwidth. I was trying to think of the least amount of work, the least creative thing I could do to just bring some stability and regular rhythm to our weekly pattern. But one of my favorite things to do is make homemade pizza. First, I love my bread maker. I think I've talked about my bread maker before. It's one of my favorite kitchen tools. And I use the recipe that came in the manual with my bread maker, because it works. It is a familiar go-to that functions well with my machine. I also think I've talked about my mini countertop oven before and its proof setting. Oh my goodness, that has changed my dough making. So when I take my dough out of my bread machine, I will divide it in two. I like to make 2 big pizzas. And then I will put those in my proofer for like 20 minutes. I will use jarred sauce. I am not above using whatever sauce I can find at the supermarket. Now, I will taste it ahead of time. And I have found that if a sauce tends to be a little bit sweet, I might want to add a little bit of vinegar to it. So I might pour a little bit of the sauce out of the jar into a bowl, might add a little bit of vinegar. I tend to usually have a garlic flavored olive oil on hand, so I might add a little bit of that, and then I taste. And that usually seems to just kind of mellow it out a little bit. Ooh, here's another little thing. Garlic paste. If you find that at the store and you use like a little spoon and just get little bits of it and spread it in with your sauce, yum. Pop those into an oven. I have to do 400 because my oven is a little bit wonky, and if it does anything higher than 400, it tends to set off our smoke detector. So I do 400. I do shift the pizzas midway through. If I have my racks evenly spaced in the oven, about 10 minutes into the 20 or 25 minute baking process, I will switch the pans so that the pizzas get different spots in the oven, because ovens tend to have hot spots. And then finishing it with a little hot sauce or a little garlic olive oil or a little salt, whatever you like. Thank you so much for joining me today at my table. Let's do this again soon. Take care of yourself. Do what you need to create a little space, a little joy, a little play in this crazy, crazy world we're living in. Bye.